So now let's look at how we can accept and use command line arguments. The first thing we need to do is bring standard envir into our scope. So inside of main, let's now create a vector called args. So let args, and then we know it's going to be a vector of string. And we can say environment, that's what it's short for, args, and then in skip 1, and I'll explain that in a second, and then we have a collect iterator for us. So we're going to use skip 1 because when we run our program, that is actually the first argument. But we don't want that one. We want everything that follows our program name. And that's going to give us the rest of everything else. So we also know that we want 4 arguments. We don't want any less, and we also don't want any more. So we want our length basically to equal 4. So if it does not equal 4, then we want to print our help out for us. So now we can remove this, and now we can also say print line, and we want to provide them a useful error message, wrong number of arguments given, expected for, got, and then another value pressed in. So we'll say error, and then we want it to be red, and we also want it to be bold, and then we want to look at how many arguments we actually were printed out. And then if we get to this point, we don't want our process to continue, so we want it to actually exit, and then we want it to exit with error code 1, which signifies that our program did not run successfully. So now let's do a couple of runs. So we'll say cargo run, and let's see what it does. So we see we have find and replace. So good. So that was our print help function being called. And then we see error, wrong number of arguments given, expected for, got 0. And now we see also error, process didn't exit successfully, which is right here. So great. So we see that it was running correctly. So now let's try running it and give it 4 arguments. So we'll say arg1, arg2, arg3, and arg4. And everything ran correctly. So obviously we don't have the logic in yet to handle our arguments, but this is a great start to our program. And now we know how we can utilize accepting arguments in from the command line and making sure that they are being stored correctly inside of our args vector. So now let's look at how we can actually structure our program correctly and separate all of this logic into different files. That way we only use main to run our program and not handle all of our core logic.